Hello, friendshippers. Welcome back. As many of you know, I made a goal this year to attend as many concerts as I could, or at least more concerts than I did the year previous. And I have been crushing this goal, and the year is not over yet. I still have a Muse show to get to. I have count them, three 21 Pilots shows to attend as well as a JD show to round out the year. So I still have many more shows to attend these last few months of the year. But so far, it has been so much fun checking out different artists, seeing how they perform live. It's just really been an incredible experience. I am a fervent believer in experiencing music live. Live music is life. So I highly recommend, if you have never been to a concert before, please do so. It doesn't matter how big or how small the artist is. Find a live show going on near you as affordable as you can. There are plenty of independent and small artists out there that have affordable live shows to attend. Check them out. It is absolutely worth it. Okay, so today I want to review the weekend that I spent going to the Nashville area and to Western Indiana, checking out a band called City of Sound. Those of you that subscribe to my channel and are here fairly regularly know that we've been checking out this band a lot recently. We checked out their debut album, we checked out all of their singles, and I even did a full-on lyrical analysis of one of their songs, Andromeda, which I absolutely love, by far my favorite song of theirs. So really all that was left to do was go and experience them live. So that's what I did. They were doing two shows back to back on consecutive days. So they were going to be in the Nashville area in a smaller town called Dickson, Tennessee, on a Friday night. And then they were headlining the Rock the Bluff Festival in a small town called Merom, Indiana, on Saturday, the very next night. So I decided to take a road trip. Drove up from Atlanta area up to Dickson, saw the show, spent the night, got up the next morning, drove the rest of the way up to Indiana, enjoyed the festival and the show that night as well, and then came all the way back down to Atlanta on Sunday. So it was quite a lot of driving, but it was super cool. I very much enjoyed the experience, and that's what I want to tell you about now. So this review is going to be kind of in three parts. So the first part will be talking about the Dickson show specifically. The second part will be talking about the Rock the Bluff Festival. And then in the third part, I'm going to just sort of go over some general observations across both shows, kind of get into the good, the bad, the ugly, my sort of assessment of the band itself and how they perform, and just sort of my general take on this independent band. So, all right, y'all know here on my channel, I am generally kind, but still honest. So strap in, get ready, because I've got some notes, y'all. I've got some notes. So, all right, let's jump in. Let's talk about the Dickson show first. So Dickson is this cute, tiny little town in Tennessee, west of Nashville. There was this brand new venue that was being opened up and having their grand opening that night. Now, turns out it was kind of a soft grand opening, so not all of the full amenities of the venue were available. From what I understand, John Reeves, who is, or shall I say, was the guitarist of City of Sound. He was City of Sound's guitarist for the last year, and turns out that the two shows that I attended that weekend were actually his last shows with the band. So I got to experience basically his farewell with the band. The band did announce later that week that John was leaving to pursue other things with all of their love and support, no animosity whatsoever, all very positive and supportive. And so he's no longer the guitarist of City of Sound, but he was for this weekend. So from what I understand, John actually, I think, is from this town or grew up in this town. So actually, let's back up a little bit and let's talk about the entire experience here. First off, again, Dickson was this very charming little town. There was this Mexican restaurant that I went and had dinner at before going over to the venue that was fantastic. The service was amazing. And honestly, take a look at this picture, you guys. I got a ton of food, okay? They gave me a ton of food, and this plate only cost me about $15 or $16. Like, I was flabbergasted at the amount of food they gave me for the price, and it was delicious, by the way. Can't remember the name of the place off the bat as I'm recording this voiceover right now, so I'm going to double check that and put the name of the restaurant on the screen for you guys so that if you're ever in Dickson, you can go and check them out. After dinner, I walked down the street and around the corner to this brand new opening venue. And okay, remember how I said strap in because I've got some notes? I'm going to be honest, you guys. Okay, I'm going to be very honest here. Everybody there was incredibly friendly. Just peak. The entire staff that was there were phenomenal. However, there was a lot of disorganization, I guess. It seemed like everything that could possibly go wrong was going wrong for these people. So I don't even know that it was necessarily like a lack of organization or a lack of professionalism or anything like that, because everybody there was just incredible. But it was just one of those things where anything that could go wrong did. So the bathrooms were out of order, so they didn't have working bathrooms. We had to, all of us guests had to leave the venue to go down the street to other like restaurants and places that were open to use restrooms. So that was a major bummer. Their food and drink. Okay, so returning to this now, the food and drink. So my understanding is that normally they would have a full bar open and available as well as food items, you know, like a whole menu. But since this was a soft launch or soft grand opening, they didn't have that available, but they did have drinks. Like they had water bottles and like sodas and stuff like that available for purchase. Now, this really wasn't a big deal to me because I don't drink, so it really didn't matter to me that they didn't have a bar available. The venue itself was really quite charming. The walls were painted this sort of really cool, like crimson red color that I feel like just worked for the small space. They had really cool things on the wall, cool artwork on the wall. It just was a great vibe. For a small venue like that, it was really cool. If I was in Dickson or near it, I would definitely be frequenting that place quite a lot. It really was such a cool vibe there. And like I said, the staff was absolutely phenomenal, incredibly friendly. It was just super unfortunate that they were having sort of all of these like issues going on. So aside from the bathrooms and the food and drink situation, there was also the additional problem of sound. It seemed like, just from observing and listening to all the people speaking around me and what the band was communicating and what the staff was communicating, it seemed like there was just this all day long problem with sound check and they couldn't get the sound check right. So the show itself actually started quite late. When I first got to the venue, I was probably about 10 minutes early for the doors opening. The time that the doors were supposed to open came and went. Then the start time of the show came and went. So by the time the band came on, I was at least an hour late. So that was unfortunate as well. Again, I don't know that I could chalk this up to disorganization so much as just things going wrong that seemed to be out of people's control, particularly sound. The sound check was not going well. You could tell that the band was frustrated over some of the sound things, that they weren't able to hear things out of the monitors very well. In particular was the lead singer's microphone. Jay, the lead singer, sang his ass off, quite frankly. He did phenomenal in this show. I was sitting right up at the front, so I was really quite close to him for the majority of the show in this tiny venue. And you know, it's a tiny venue and I'm like right up front, so I could very clearly hear him even without the mic. I could hear him, like just him separate from the mic, and so I could hear that he was absolutely killing it in the vocals, just absolutely singing the shit out of those songs. But anytime he would sing higher than a particular note on the scale, the mic just wouldn't pick it up. So something was definitely screwy with the sound. So it was just really unfortunate because he really did a fantastic job of singing, but the mic was not kind. And The mic was definitely like not turned up enough, and he even signaled very quickly early on in the show. Jay even pointed to his mic and signaled to the sound guys to turn it up, and I think they were doing all they could to turn it up, and it just wasn't enough. I don't know if that is going to be a continual problem at this particular venue, or if it was just one of those fluke weird nights, you know, but that would really be my only criticism here. Like I said, it was a really great venue, great vibes, great environment, great people, you know, great crowd. My only complaint here is the fact that there was just so much going wrong at a soft grand opening, you know, between the bathrooms, the food, and then the sound especially. So that was a little unfortunate. The opening acts were pretty good, actually. Alex Ray, who some of you may know from here on YouTube, was one of the openers. She did fantastic, but again, the sound problems really worked against her. I think her set would have come off a lot better and would have sounded a lot better if the sound was working well. But she did a really great job. Okay, so let's actually talk about the show. Because the set list was the same for both shows, I'm actually going to wait until the third section of this video to talk about the actual like set list and show itself, since it applies to both shows. But for this specific show here in Dickson, they put on a really great show. The crowd had a really cool energy to it. I kind of wish the crowd would have been a little more engaged. A crowd can really make or break you at times, and while this crowd wasn't standoffish by any means, I feel like they were cautiously engaged. They were definitely engaged, they were definitely enjoying it, but sort of a reserved engagement rather than a free and loose, hands in the air, losing yourself to the music kind of engaged. But I feel like the show really went well. The crowd definitely enjoyed it. The late start to their show really set them back in their schedule, and they were really gonna have to like rush out of there after the show. So they were very upfront and transparent about that and said, hey, you know, we only have about maybe 20 minutes to chat with you guys after the show before we just really have to go. And I feel like people were pretty respectful of that. And yet I still feel like the band did stick around much longer than they probably should have, just because they were, I think, respectful to their fans, and they do care about their fans. You know what I mean? They care, and they actually stayed and interacted with their fans, which was really cool on their part. I myself got to talk to them, so I actually got a chance to meet all of the band members. Blake, the drummer, I spoke to the least. I spoke to him just enough to give him a friendship bracelet that I had made, because I had made friendship bracelets for all four of the band members. So I spoke to him just briefly enough to give him his bracelet and, you know, say hi. And that was about it. He seems to be a bit on the shyer side, at least from what I could see, so I didn't talk to him very much. John Reeves was incredibly friendly, incredible cool dude. He actually recognized me standing out in line when I was standing outside in line, and he came out of the venue to go, you know, take care of something. As he was walking by, he recognized me immediately and stopped and shook my hand and said hello. So he was super cool. I talked to him a few times over the course of the weekend. I said, super cool dude, very, very nice. I got to talk to Nova a few times. You guys, if you were thinking that Nova is the coolest person in the band, you would 100% be correct. Okay, she's the coolest. Okay, she really is. She's so sweet. She was so nice, and she sat and talked with me for a while, actually. That was really cool. And then Jay as well. I got to talk to Jay, and he is really, really cool. Every time we do City of Sound, or we talk about City of Sound on my channel, I seem to always get the response of like, oh, Jay, and there's always the mention of his looks, because he's very handsome. And so I just gotta say, my assessment of meeting him in person, getting the chance to chat with him a bit and talk to him a little bit. Yeah, okay, yes, ladies, you're not wrong. Okay, yes, I have eyes, like, I get it, but I'll tell you, his physical appearance is the least interesting thing about him, okay? He's a really, really cool dude. He's very smart, he's very intelligent, he's very well thought out, and he's incredibly focused. Being able to see, to be there early enough to kind of see how the sound checks were going down, and, you know, all of the hustle of, you know, putting on the show and all of that, and then even seeing the band afterwards and how they interacted with people, and, you know, all of that, taking it all in. He's I could see that he's very focused and very meticulous and cares very, very much about what he does and about his craft. He's a very fascinating, quite frankly, all of them are. They're really cool people, all very fascinating individuals, all really cool individuals. So all around, a very positive experience interacting with all of them, and it was just a really cool show. I thoroughly enjoyed it. It was very much worth the drive up there, very much worth the late start to the night. Okay, so I am like totally not a selfie person, you guys. I'm just not a selfie person, like, because genuinely I am the least photogenic person, like, in the history of the world, like, for reals. If you don't believe me, I'm about to put here you go. There you go. See, there's me. Look at everybody else. Look at the whole band looking awesome. And then there's me, just completely non-photogenic at all. So I just don't do selfies. I don't like myself in pictures, but I knew I had to kind of document some of this at least a little bit. So here's a selfie of my outfit that I wore in Dickson. It was really cool. All around a great show. There was the Rock the Bluff Festival going down in Merom, Indiana, which is just this little tiny place that just out in the boondocks, basically. It's like this tiny rural town. Like there's nothing around. It's kind of out in the woods up against the bluffs, which is why it's called Rock the Bluff. And it turns out that this was actually their first year doing it. This was their launch year for this festival. I can't say enough about how incredible everybody was up there. Just phenomenal. The festival director, Rob, fantastic, incredibly nice, incredibly friendly. I actually had interactions with him via email before I even went up there because the ticketing was such that there was only one price for like the entire week. It was like a 3-day festival. So the pricing was such that you would pay for the whole 3 days, but I was only going to be there for 1 day, so I had reached out to them to find out if there was like a different way for me to get a ticket just for 1 day. And so there was like a back and forth with the emails. Rob, the director, was just absolutely phenomenal, incredibly friendly, incredibly helpful, incredibly generous. I mean, he was willing to let me in for free because I was only going to be there 1 day, which I was like, no, like I insist, I will pay for my ticket, which I did. But he was just incredibly generous, incredibly kind. And then he was running the gates when I got there. Like when I arrived, the director himself was out there running traffic and checking people in and running the gate. Like just a super cool dude all around. Then once I got into the festival, everybody there was so friendly. They had booths around the lawns and everything. Just different vendors that were there. Various things like artists, artisans, craftsmen. One of the booths there was super cool. It was this woman who was doing hair tinsel and like glitter tattoos and face glitter and just things like that. And so I actually got a glitter tattoo from her, and I got like some face glitter from her. So while I was in the chair getting those things applied, we were chatting, and she was super sweet. She was asking me, what I was doing so far away from home being at this rural Indiana festival. And so I told her that I was there for City of Sound and how I had come across hearing about the band like via my YouTube channel, and she was really intrigued. So she actually like looked me up and followed me on YouTube right there in front of me. It was kind of funny and it was cute. It was really flattering. She was super nice, but she also gave me her business card. So I'm going to put that on the screen right now. Here you go. So if any of you are ever in Western Indiana, please look her up. It's my understanding that she does parties and events and things like that. So there you go. Look her up. She's phenomenal. She did a great job. And like I said, she was super sweet. Not only that, but I actually convinced her to stay for the show because the City of Sound show was going to be going on at 9 o'clock that night, but her booth didn't have a floodlight attached to it. So she was going to just take down her booth at sundown and go home for the night. But in talking to her about the band, I convinced her to stick around. So she was going to take down her booth regardless and be done working for the day, but she was going to go ahead and stick around and stay for the show, which she did, actually. She came and sat next to me at the picnic tables when the show started. So there you go. You're welcome, City of Sound. I got you another fan. Okay, what else? Oh, I need to talk about the food here, guys. I need to talk about the food here. Like I said, everybody at this festival was so incredible. The woman who ran the food truck that I got my food from, oh my God, okay? She was a saint, all right? I was starving by the time I got to this festival because I had to drive from Dickson, Tennessee up to Indiana to where my hotel was, but my hotel was actually 2 hours away from the festival because there really wasn't very much hotel space available on that side of the state where everything was really rural. And so it was just easier for me to find something closer to the bigger city. And so anyways, that made for a much longer drive. So I had to go over to the hotel, get myself cleaned up and ready, and then drive 2 hours west to the western end of the state to be there for this festival. So by the time I was arriving there, it was pretty late in the day. I had barely had anything to eat, and I was just absolutely starving. So I beelined it to the food trucks, okay? I get to this food truck, and I order this mushroom Swiss sandwich melt thing. Guys, it was divine, okay? Like, seriously, when you're that hungry, like, it was just divine, okay? It was like one of the best things I've ever eaten. One, because I was starving, but two, it was just a really good sandwich, all right? Like, this woman was great. She made a fantastic sandwich, but she was also super kind, and again, super generous. She charged me less than what was the posted amount on her sign, which threw me for a loop a little bit, because I was like, wait, did you charge me for the right thing? And she was like, yeah, I got you. And I was like, okay. So that was kind of a fun surprise. And then as they were making my sandwich, I was standing there reading their menu board, and I realized that they had all these cool like lemonades and stuff. And I was like, yeah, you know what? I don't feel like walking back to my car to go get my like water jug. So yeah, I'll just get myself a drink. So I ordered this lemonade. It was an elderflower lemonade. Not only was she so kind as to again give me a discount on it and charge me less than what the posted price was, but she also says to me, but stay here and taste it first before you walk away, because if you don't like it, I will make you another one. I'll let you order whatever else you want, and I'll make you something you do like. I'm like, what? So she was just super generous. Like, who offers to do that, you know? Just make me a whole new drink just because I don't like the one I ordered, even though it's like totally my fault if I ordered the wrong thing, you know? But no, she was super generous. Turns out we didn't have to do that because the elderflower lemonade was fucking delicious, you guys, okay? It's like the best lemonade I've ever tasted in my life. It's amazing. Like, I have not stopped thinking about that lemonade since. It was fantastic. So kudos to the food truck lady. I'm kind of mad at myself that I didn't get her name and that I didn't get the name of the food cart. I'm so sorry. But seriously, I really hope that you're there next year, because this festival was cool enough that I do want to go there every year now. Like, I am 100% gonna be at that festival again next year. And I really hope that she's there again with her elderflower lemonade, because I'm gonna cry if, like, seriously, I'm gonna show up there, and if it's not there, I'm gonna cry, because that was just like the best lemonade ever, for realsies. Okay, now remember when I said I didn't like selfies? Yeah, I don't. Okay, but I had to document this, so here's my face glitter that I got at the festival, because, you know, it's so pretty. All right, there you go. All right, let's talk about the actual show here a little bit. So there were other acts throughout the day. They said it was a festival, so it was running all day long. I had gotten there around 5-ish. There was artists kind of every, I don't know, half hour to an hour or so. City of Sound went on about 9. This was actually a pretty cool show. Okay, remember, I tell the truth up in here, guys, okay? So we're gonna give the pros and the cons to this, all right? I'm gonna start with the con. The con to this was the way that the stage area was set up, because you had the stage and then you had this sort of like some open cement slab with picnic tables lining like the outline of this rectangular slab, which in theory, if you had like a packed house, would make loads of sense, because it would give like a pit with seats around the edges. But this place wasn't packed. I mean, there was a fair amount of people there. It definitely wasn't empty, but it wasn't packed. You know what I mean? It wasn't like there was thousands of people there. So what it ended up creating was this empty space where the pit should be, with people just all kind of sitting on the picnic tables around the edges, or even on the lawn behind the slab and everything. So it made for greater distance between the artists and the audience, which can feel like a million miles away, right? I feel like when you have that sort of physical distance, it makes you feel the distance on that. And I think it made it a little harder for some of that sort of audience magic to take place, which is unfortunate. I think that was my con for this festival setup here, is that if the crowd is big, this is a cool setup. If the crowd is not big, this can feel a little alienating. Now, cool things about this show in particular, because again, I'm going to cover some general notes about the performances in the last section here, but specifically for this show, the sound here was much better. The mixing here was done very, very well. The mics all worked really well. You could hear them very clearly. The instruments came through really well. So I think just overall, sound was much, much better better on this one. We did have a bit of a hiccup with this show though, because right during I'm pretty sure it was like the first song, he had like jumped off the stage and was standing on this little like riser in the pit and was like just singing his heart out, okay? Like killing it, singing his heart out, and the mic just dies. Like just cuts out and dies. He stops, the band stops, they have to like get it figured out. So it's a few minutes. There's a good like, I don't know, 5-ish minutes or so that go by with them trying to get a working mic. But I feel like they handled it really well, because as awkward and horrifying as that is as the performer, they handled it really well. The audience was very forgiving and patient about it. The other band members covered for it very well. Nova, the violinist, started just playing her violin and songs that were recognizable, like songs from Lord of the Rings and stuff like that, just riffing it on her violin, which was kind of cool. I think John gave us a little taste on his guitar as well. Like, so they did a really good job of just kind of filling in the silence to keep the crowd engaged a bit while they got it figured out. And luckily they did. They got it figured out fairly quickly and they were right back to it, and it was a really great show. My favorite moment of the show though, and I'm kicking myself that I do not have proper footage of this, so I actually decided to live stream this show on my Twitch channel so that my audience could check it out. And I thought for sure, I was like, since I'm live streaming this, I can totally grab the VOD later and I'll have all of this footage to use for my review video. Woo, I'm so smart. Yeah, no. Because I was out in the woods of rural Indiana, the connection was not great. The majority of my live stream footage is all very grainy and choppy and laggy, and it's just not good footage, like at all. It's bad. So unfortunately, I was not able to capture my favorite moment because I thought I had captured my favorite moment. I captured it as it was happening in the moment. I knew at that moment, I was like, oh my God, this is the moment, y'all. This is the moment, and I am so glad that I caught it. I caught it on camera. I caught it on this footage. Like, oh my God, this is gonna be so epic. Just to get home and review the footage, and not only was all of the footage really bad and choppy, but this moment in particular, this profound and beautiful moment that was the moment, it wasn't just choppy, like it was missing basically. The video lagged so bad that it basically like skips right over it because it just jumps forward. Twitch and the bad connection, it just like totally failed me on that one. That really sucks. But here's what the moment was. I'm gonna have to just verbally paint you a picture. All right, so like I said before, Jay had this riser that he put out in the pit area. So there's this song called I For One. The prominent lyric of this song is a line that says, I see the hope for the future right here. There's this moment where Jay actually jumps off the stage, is down on this riser in the pit, and there are all these children who were dancing around in the pit area because again, everybody was sitting on the picnic tables around the perimeter of this cement slab, and so that pit area in the middle was actually fairly empty. So a lot of the little children had put on these glow necklaces and glow sticks and all of that, and were dancing around with their glow sticks while the music was playing. So it was this really incredible, profoundly moving moment to have these children playing right in front of Jay, like he's standing right in front of them, basically singing right to them the words, I see the hope for the future right here. I got really choked up in that moment. Like I said, I was live streaming this and I thought, oh my God, this is the moment, y'all, to see these sweet little children and hearing the words, I see the hope for the future right here. It was just such a cool moment, and I hate that my footage didn't capture it. So anyways, that was my favorite moment of the show. All around, really great show. Okay, final warning, y'all. If you haven't strapped in yet, you're gonna need to now because, like I said before, I have notes and mama ain't gonna hold back. All right, here we go, y'all. General notes across the board here with my experience across both shows, and now seeing this band in person, live, seeing how their shows go, seeing how they perform, seeing how they move, right? Just how they move around on stage, how they engage with the audience. Set list was really cool. So I was simultaneously super excited, but also a little disappointed because my favorite song is Andromeda, as you know, and they played Andromeda, which was crazy exciting. That was the excitement. Okay, I was super excited, but it was like the second song in. So I was like, woo, yes, it's my favorite song. But then it's like, now it's the second song, and like that quickly, my favorite song has already passed, you know? And so that was a little deflating. But I was kind of hoping for it to be a little later in the set list so I could like ramp up to it, you know. That, by the way, I mean, that's not a complaint. That's a me problem. Like, what am I even talking about here? I'm complaining about my favorite song being sung. Like, what? Why, Julie? Why? Like, seriously? That's a me problem. Okay, let's move on. Again, set list. Really good set list. There are songs of theirs that I wish I would have been able to hear. Like, I love Lords of Water's Deep. Silent Empire is one of my favorites. So they were just some of my favorites that didn't get played. But that's okay, because honestly, this band doesn't make a bad song. So the set list really could have been anything, and it still would have been fire. They just did a really great job, and their song's really great. Okay, so performance-wise, actual like stage presence and performance. I'm gonna tackle this according to band member, really, because each of them is a different person and has a different presence. Blake is Blake. He's the drummer. He's kind of tucked in the back there, which I kind of get the feeling he probably prefers. I kind of got the vibe from him that he's a bit on the shy or quiet side. I mean, I think it's probably in his personality to not draw a whole lot of attention to himself, but I do think it would be cool if he did get to the point that he felt comfortable enough to sort of play around a little bit, to be a little more engaging with the crowd, or, you know, that sort of thing. But I mean, no complaints here. He did an absolutely fabulous job. Drums sounded great on all these songs. Okay, John, I don't know that I can say a whole lot about John because, again, he's no longer in the band. I'm gonna give him credit where credit's due here because he did play in these shows and he did a really great job. He seemed to have a pretty open stance in his performing. There were a couple of times that he even kind of came down off of the stage a bit into the kind of pit area to engage a bit too, so that was actually really fun. I feel like that was a cool thing to do. Okay, Nova, honestly, 0 notes. Nova, you're killing it. You're fantastic. Your outfits are fire. She's clearly the one with the most fashion sense in the group. Now I'm just having a little fun. Okay, sorry, I'm just taking the piss out of Jay a little bit. It's okay. No, let's be serious though. Let's take this seriously, okay? Seriously, Nova does a really good job of putting together stage outfits, and her movement and stage presence and like physicality on stage is actually really cool because she has the grace of the playing the violin, but then even during the parts that she's not playing, she's not just standing there being awkward waiting for her turn. Like, she's moving around and she's kind of dancing with the music and she's engaging. She smiles at people out in the audience and kind of connects with them. So no, I think she's got a really great performance persona in aesthetic and fashion and how she presents herself visually with her outfits, but also in her mannerisms and how she engages, and both when she's actually playing her instrument and when she's not. No, I was serious when I said 0 notes here. Like, you're killing it. Okay. All right. So, Jay, let's talk about Jay. Now, Jay is the lead singer, of course. He is the front man, so he's going to be in front for most of the show. This is where most of the show's attention is going to be. He's the one singing the lyrics. He's out in front. He definitely knows how to put on a show. He definitely gets in the zone. It was actually really fascinating to see the sort of focused, meticulous Jay off stage before the show versus the actual like on stage, like let loose in the moment Jay. So that was kind of fascinating to watch and see him kind of step into that stage persona. So he definitely knows how to put on a good show. He's definitely crowd engagement heavy, okay? Like, some artists will hug that stage like crazy and they're almost a little nervous to kind of interact with the crowd. He is not. Okay, Jay is absolutely not embarrassed at all, not shy at all about engaging the crowd. He will literally jump into the crowd and meet eyes. Like, he will lock eyes, full on eye contact, singing straight to people's faces because he wants you to know that, quote, I fucking love you. Okay, like that. I mean, he literally will scream, I fucking love you to people in the audience. He refers to this as, quote, positive profanity, which cracks me up. I love that he calls it that. It's hilarious. But he's just very engaging. It's clear that he's there for the audience. It's clear that and not just with him, but with the entire band, in interacting with them off stage and then watching the show on stage. It's clear that they care about what they do. They care about the music. They very much especially care about the message and getting the message to people. The message being love and connectedness, that we're all human beings, that at the end of the day, we're all human and we all have that in common. You can just see that it comes through in the way that they perform, particularly Jay as the frontman who's out there singing these lyrics to people. He's jumping out into the crowd, he's making eye contact with them, he's very much making it clear, like, I am here and I'm connecting with you, you're not alone. Which is a really cool vibe for a show, for a live show. Now we're gonna get into some nitty gritty, y'all, because remember, I don't glaze, all right? We're gonna nitpick a little bit, so I'm sorry. I'm not sorry, but okay, here we go. We're gonna get into it. All right, some things that I noticed, having gone to a lot of shows, a lot of concerts, and then even watched concerts, even ones that I haven't been in person, but concert films and things like that, just seeing a lot of live performances, and then just even doing what I do here on the channel as a music reactor, seeing a lot of live performances from a variety of artists. Here is what I noticed in Jay's performance here live, and that is that while he is incredible at really engaging with the crowd, his body language at times can maybe be a little contradicting to that, and I think it's completely unintentional. And here's what I mean by that. And I'm gonna apologize in advance that this explanation is gonna be a very like artist, painter-centric way of describing this, but I just don't know how else to describe it. So forgive me my painting terminology, okay? I noticed the difference in his lines. And what I mean by his lines are the angles that his body posture makes. So here's what I mean. So if we were to take a look at some footage of like Taylor Swift, for example, look at her performance and look at her stance, look at the lines of her body. As she's singing and performing, there is an openness to her lines. Her lines point outwards and open to the crowd. 21 Pilots is my favorite band ever, okay? Taking a look at some of their live performances, take a look at Tyler Joseph, okay? He is all over the stage. I call him Twitchy Tyler, okay? He's kind of all over and he's very physical in his movement and in his performance. But even when he's being physical and all over the place, if you pay attention, you kind of look, you see his lines still stay open. The lines still kind of point outward to the crowd in this sort of almost like an energetic hug, right? It's this sort of embrace outward of the crowd. Now let's look at Jay's lines. Like I said, he makes eye contact so often. So he is inviting to the audience, right? He's making eye contact with them. He's telling people he fucking loves them, right? He's literally running out into the crowd and jumping on tables and very much in the pit, in the people, okay, in the crowd. But if you look at his lines tend to focus inward, right? So it doesn't have quite the same open outward lines that embrace the audience. It feels very inward. I don't think this is intentional. It's probably very subconscious. And it probably has a lot to do with his vocals, because he's an incredible vocalist and it's clear he's a very meticulous vocalist as well. And so I think probably it's unconscious. Probably he's just really focused on landing his vocals perfectly, that his body sort of centers around that. And so his body kind of shifts his lines inward in order to focus inward on, on execution of the vocal. Now, I am not a professional vocalist by any stretch of the imagination, so I am not even going to remotely pretend like I know what your body needs to do in order to land these notes. So for all I know, this could be completely unavoidable, and to be able to accomplish what he's accomplishing, there's no other way around it. He has to move his body in this position in order to do that. I don't know, but it's just an observation as someone in the crowd observing this and comparing game tape, so to speak, in different staging and different body language of different performers. It is just something that I noticed as an artist, right? As a painter, that's just something that I notice, right? I notice angles and lines, because a lot of times, again, as an artist, a large part of expression and depiction of human beings and expression are a lot of those things, are a lot of those angles. And so, you know, the way that you angle an eyebrow can completely change the expression on someone's face and change the emotion behind it. The way you angle someone's hands, the way you angle their leg or their arm can really change what that person you're painting and depicting is expressing in that painting. When I see these lines in this performance, again, I don't know anything about professional singing, so it could just be a technical execution issue. As an artist, I think of it more on the emotional or psychological side of things. So it just kind of makes me wonder if there's some form of subconscious hesitation there, or some like subconscious emotional armor that's present there. So again, I don't know if this is a subconscious thing or if it's a technical execution thing, but it is just something that I noticed. No shade to you, Jay. You know I love you, but it's just my observation. All right, enough harping on this. Enough of the overanalyzing and soapboxing. Julie, step off. All right, I'm stepping off now. Enough negativity and criticism, okay? Jeez. Let's end with some positivity. Overall, this is probably one of my favorite bands that I have seen live. So having taken in everything that I have with this band, reviewing their album, their singles, deep diving into one of their songs lyrically, seeing 2 of their live shows, interacting with them off stage, and everything, just taking all of that in. My summarization here is that this band is far bigger than what their stage represents. They really should be on bigger stages than they are. And you can see that and feel that in the audience. Like as you're watching them perform, they bring such a level of energy and professionalism and meticulousness and performance, like all of that. They really bring it. They bring it very professionally and polished. They perform the way that you would expect a much bigger, successful artist to perform on a much bigger stage. Going into this, I expected to witness a small, independent band. That's what I was expecting. Having been to concerts of various artists now, big and small, I was expecting the small artist kind of show. And I have to say that having been to shows of artists that are smaller, but working with far better resources and bigger success than what City of Sound is now, having seen those shows of those artists, City of Sound is doing it better. I'm just being honest here. And that's not that I disliked those other artists. I have absolutely loved all of the shows that I have been fortunate enough to go to over the last few years. But I have to be honest and say that when I watched City of Sound perform, I was actually quite taken aback at the level of professionalism that they were performing at, and the energy that they have on stage, and the skill that they have on stage. I was very pleasantly surprised to find myself thinking, whoa, these guys are better than these other acts that I've seen that have far more resources and far more success and bigger stages. And I mean that really, really and truly. I genuinely hope for this band's success. They are not new to this. In diving into this and getting to know this band, they've been doing this for quite some time. So they're not new. They're not amateurs. And that's clear. If I had any doubt whatsoever about like the amateur level of this, that disappeared immediately upon seeing them perform live. These are not amateurs, okay? These are professionals, and they exude that, and their stages should be bigger. There is an incredible combination here of different attributes that I feel like different artists may exude different ones, but maybe not all of them together. So you'll have the artist that's incredibly focused and hardworking, but maybe doesn't necessarily write the best lyrics, right? or maybe doesn't have the greatest melodies. And then you have the artist that's like a creative genius that just writes the most incredible harmonies and the most incredible lyrics, but then they might be a little loosey-goosey or a little like flaky, or like they are a bit high maintenance and really need to be managed, so you might have this sort of different combination of different strengths and weaknesses. And it was really fascinating and surprising, honestly, to see this group of people, this band, come together in a really interesting mix that sort of covered all of the bases. That there's artistry there, there's creativity there, there's a lot of technical skill involved. There's a really great combination here of all of those strengths coming together that I feel is a bit rare to have present, to have all of those qualities present in the same artist, in this same band. There's a lot of technical skill at play during their shows. Everything is so meticulously timed out. There's not a lot of room for like riffing it. Like everything is very meticulous and technical, but then the band is clearly very creative. They have a very creative storyline and concept going on in their albums and in their songs. There's a high level of poeticism and very intelligent, deep, layered lyrics, beautiful melodies. I mean, this is a cinematic rock band. The melodies sound very big and epic and cinematic. And then we have incredible vocals, just absolutely incredible vocals to fully back up and support all of this incredible musicianship that is taking place. They have a really great onstage presence, interacting with their fans, interacting with the pit and the audience. So all around, you just have this really cool energy and creativity happening here. But then even when you move off of the stage, there's incredible focus, incredible commitment, incredible hard work. Like, these people are grinding constantly, okay? So from my outside observer vantage point, it was really fascinating to observe all of those qualities going on in the same band. All around, this band has shown that they are very talented professionals. And I mean that in the utmost, sense of both of those words, okay? These are talented professionals, and they absolutely should be on bigger stages in front of bigger audiences. If y'all take anything away from this video whatsoever, that's the thing I want you to take away from this, okay? This band deserves bigger audiences. This band deserves to be performing in front of packed, sold out arenas with pits that are standing room only and absolutely packed, because that is the level of energy that they are bringing to the stage, that it is only fair to them and that energy that the audience is there to reciprocate. So if this is the first time you are ever hearing about this band, and you happen to just be watching this because you're a subscriber of my channel and you were just curious, look this band up immediately. Tell your friends about them, because this band deserves to have a massive audience in their pit. Now, I don't know about you, but I am tired of hearing the sound of my own voice, so I am going to wrap this up here and say thank you so much. You being a part of this community is what allows me to have the freedom to go to these shows and to document these things, to share with the rest of the world. So thank you so much for being here, for being part of the community. Thank you, City of Sound, for being so welcoming, so friendly, so open and kind, for being absolutely great musicians. You're a great band. Thank you for making the music that you do. Your shows were absolutely incredible, and I had the best time that weekend. Thank you so much. And thanks to all of my friendshippers. I will catch you on the next one.